Have you ever paused in the hustle of daily life to ask yourself, what truly brings lasting happiness? Is it the fleeting thrill of material possessions, the excitement of achievements, or something far deeper, an enduring peace found in a liberated mind? The Dalai Lama, a guiding light of wisdom and compassion, invites us to reflect on this timeless question. He teaches that true happiness is not found in clinging to desires or attachments, but in the profound act of letting go. This cornerstone of Buddhist philosophy is not merely a spiritual concept. It's a transformative way of living that offers clarity and freedom, even amidst the chaos of modern life. Renunciation doesn't mean giving up everything. It means freeing ourselves from the chains of craving and dissatisfaction. It's about finding joy in simplicity, purpose in mindfulness, and strength in the recognition that happiness lies not in what we hold on to, but in what we're willing to release. Imagine a life where you're no longer chasing elusive satisfaction. Instead, you're embracing a deeper sense of contentment that arises from within. A contentment that no external circumstance can take away. This is the liberation the Dalai Lama speaks of. And it's a path open to all of us. Let's walk this path together. Are you ready to explore this journey of self-discovery? To uncover the freedom that lies in letting go and embracing life with intention? If this resonates with you, we'd love for you to be part of our growing community. Subscribe to our channel for more insights and teachings that inspire a life of mindfulness and peace. Comment below and share your thoughts. What does happiness mean to you? How do you navigate the balance between desire and letting go? Your journey matters, and your voice is powerful. Let's connect, learn, and grow together, one mindful step at a time. What does renunciation really mean? Does renunciation mean giving up everything you love? Absolutely not. It's not about abandoning the joys of life or retreating into isolation. Instead, renunciation is a radical shift in perspective, a deep, inner awakening to the fleeting nature of worldly desires. It's the art of letting go, not out of deprivation, but out of wisdom. Think about it. How often do we chase after things only to feel unsatisfied once we have them? That new phone, job promotion, or even a relationship might bring a momentary thrill, but the cycle of wanting never seems to end. Why is that? Because we're clinging to illusions. The Buddha taught that craving, tanha in Pali, is the root of suffering, dukkha. And yet desire isn't inherently bad. It's about balance. Desires that are guided by wisdom and compassion can fuel progress and connection, but unchecked cravings often bind us in chains of dissatisfaction. Renunciation, at its core, involves understanding that the happiness derived from external objects is fleeting. It is not the pursuit of joy that is discouraged, but the attachment to the idea that these pursuits will bring lasting fulfillment. Imagine living with the freedom to enjoy without clinging, to love without fear of loss, and to experience life fully without the weight of expectations. Isn't that a liberating thought? Expanding on this, renunciation is also about creating space for what truly matters. When we let go of the superficial distractions that often dominate our lives, we open ourselves to deeper connections with ourselves, with others, and with the universe at large. It's about identifying what truly nurtures our souls and letting go of what drains us. Consider the analogy of a garden. If we let weeds overrun the soil, there's little room for the flowers to bloom. Renunciation is the process of clearing out those weeds. It's not an act of rejection, but of cultivation. Choosing to focus on what brings enduring peace and meaning. Moreover, renunciation is deeply personal. For one person, it might mean stepping away from material excess. For another, it could mean relinquishing the need for approval or control. It's less about the what and more about the why. By understanding our attachments and examining their true value, we can make intentional choices that align with our higher selves. This practice does not require abandoning a fulfilling career, meaningful relationships, or personal interests. Instead, it encourages us to engage with these aspects of life with clarity and purpose. When we let go of the notion that external achievements define our worth, we begin to live authentically, guided not by fear or compulsion, but by love and wisdom. In practical terms, how can we embrace renunciation in daily life? Start small. Notice the moments when you're tempted to cling, whether it's to an opinion, a material object, or a fleeting emotion. Ask yourself, will this bring lasting peace? Cultivate mindfulness to become aware of your attachments and reflect on their impact. Over time, this awareness will naturally lead to a loosening of the grip. Ultimately, renunciation is not a loss but a gain of freedom, clarity, and profound inner peace. It's about living lightly, with open hands and an open heart, ready to embrace life's impermanence with grace. Renunciation, then, is not an end, but a beginning, a doorway to a richer, more meaningful existence. A fresh perspective from the Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama explains renunciation not as rejection, but as embracing life with clarity and balance. He often asks us to reflect, are we owning our possessions, or are they owning us? This distinction is crucial. Imagine holding sand in your hand. Clench your fist tightly, and the sand slips away. Open your palm gently, and it stays. The same applies to our attachments. Loving someone deeply doesn't mean trying to control them. It means appreciating them with openness and gratitude. The same goes for wealth. What's the point of hoarding it if it doesn't bring peace or serve a greater purpose? These teachings challenge not only how we live individually, but also how we function as a society. In modern culture, success is often measured by how much we accumulate, be it wealth, power, or social status. Yet the Dalai Lama's perspective invites us to question these norms. What does it mean to be truly successful? Is it the size of our bank account, or is it the depth of our relationships and the richness of our experiences? He reminds us that material abundance can never compensate for a lack of inner fulfillment. True prosperity, he asserts, comes from cultivating a sense of purpose and connection. Consider how the principle of renunciation can reshape our understanding of progress. In a world driven by consumption and competition, renunciation might seem counterintuitive, but what if we viewed it as liberation? Freedom from the relentless pursuit of more. This shift doesn't mean abandoning ambition or refusing to engage with the world. Instead, it's about aligning our goals with values that foster harmony and well-being. For instance, instead of striving for success solely for personal gain, what if we aim to contribute to the collective good? The Dalai Lama's insights extend to the way we approach relationships. Attachment often disguises itself as love, leading us to cling to others in ways that can be suffocating. However, he teaches that genuine love is about giving, not possessing. It's about creating space for others to grow and flourish, rather than seeking to mold them to our expectations. This mindset not only nurtures healthier relationships, but also deepens our capacity for empathy and understanding. In a broader sense, the Dalai Lama encourages us to rethink the role of compassion in society. Compassion, he suggests, is not a luxury, but a necessity for building a more equitable and sustainable world. It is the foundation of true happiness because it shifts our focus from self-centered desires to a greater sense of interconnection. By fostering compassion, we can address societal challenges, from inequality to environmental degradation, with a spirit of cooperation and mutual respect. By encouraging simplicity and mindfulness, the Dalai Lama opens the door to a deeper kind of joy, one that arises not from external circumstances, but from an inner sense of peace and contentment. He frequently emphasizes that true wealth lies in our capacity for compassion and wisdom, not in material accumulation. Isn't it time we reconsidered our priorities? In doing so, we may discover that the most profound fulfillment comes not from what we have, but from who we become. Why do we suffer from desire and attachment? Desire and attachment are fundamental aspects of human experience, intricately woven into the fabric of our thoughts, emotions, and actions. While they can motivate us to pursue goals, build relationships, and create meaningful lives, they are also often the source of profound suffering. To understand why we suffer from desire and attachment, we must delve into their roots and examine the illusions they create. By doing so, we can begin to free ourselves from their grip and cultivate a more peaceful and liberated existence. The root of desire, a quest for fulfillment. Desire arises naturally within us, often as a response to unmet needs or aspirations. However, it becomes problematic when it is tethered to ignorance, avidya, the mistaken belief that external objects, achievements, or relationships can provide lasting satisfaction. This illusion leads us to pursue things outside ourselves, wealth, recognition, romantic love, as though they were the key to permanent happiness. Yet, as we attain these desires, we quickly find that the satisfaction they bring is fleeting, leaving us yearning for more. This cycle of craving and disillusionment perpetuates our suffering. Consider how often we anchor our sense of identity and self-worth to possessions or social status. A luxurious car, a prestigious job, or a loving partner might seem to define who we are and validate our existence. But what happens when these things are taken away? The pain we feel is not solely from the loss itself, but from the collapse of the identity we built around them. This dependency is at the heart of our suffering. The thought experiment, confronting attachment. As an exercise to illustrate the depth of our attachment, close your eyes and picture your most prized possession or dearest relationship. Now imagine losing it completely. What emotions arise? Fear, panic, or profound sadness? These feelings reveal how tightly we cling to external anchors for our sense of stability and happiness. They also highlight how vulnerable we become when our well-being depends on things that are impermanent and beyond our control. By reflecting on this exercise, we can begin to see the liberating potential of letting go. Imagine if your peace of mind did not depend on these possessions or relationships. How much freer and more resilient would you feel? Recognizing our attachments is the first step toward cultivating such freedom. The ego and its insatiable hunger. Attachment is deeply rooted in the ego, which constantly seeks validation and security through external means. The ego tells us that by acquiring certain things or maintaining specific relationships, we can solidify our sense of self and achieve completeness. However, this creates a paradox. The more we cling to these external sources, the more fragile and unstable our inner world becomes. For instance, someone might derive their identity from their career. When their professional achievements are acknowledged, they feel valued and fulfilled. But if they face criticism or lose their job, their sense of worth crumbles. The pain they experience is not just about the external event, but about the unmet expectations and the blow to their constructed identity. This cycle of dependence, expectation, and disappointment is a significant source of suffering. The wisdom of impermanence. Buddhist philosophy offers profound insights into the nature of desire and attachment, emphasizing the concept of impermanence. Hanika. Everything in life, our possessions, relationships, and even our physical bodies, is in a state of constant change. Recognizing this truth can be unsettling at first, as it challenges our deep-seated desire for stability and permanence. Yet, embracing impermanence is also profoundly liberating. Understanding impermanence allows us to approach life with a sense of gratitude and acceptance. Instead of clinging to things as though they will last forever, we can appreciate their transient beauty. For example, knowing that a cherished relationship is not permanent might inspire us to savor each moment with that person, rather than taking their presence for granted. Similarly, recognizing that material possessions are temporary can help us enjoy them without becoming enslaved by them. The path to freedom, letting go. Letting go does not mean detachment in the sense of apathy or indifference. Rather, it involves releasing the need to control or cling to things, allowing life to unfold naturally. This shift requires us to move beyond the ego's narrative of scarcity and fear, embracing a mindset of abundance and trust. Practicing mindfulness can help us cultivate this perspective. By observing our thoughts and emotions without judgment, we can begin to see the patterns of craving and attachment that drive our behavior. For instance, when we feel the pang of desire for a new gadget or the sting of jealousy in a relationship, mindfulness allows us to pause and reflect. Is this desire truly about the object or person, or is it a deeper yearning for security or validation? This awareness creates space for us to respond with wisdom rather than react impulsively. The joy of liberation. As we loosen our grip on desire and attachment, we open ourselves to a more profound and enduring sense of joy. This joy does not depend on external circumstances, but arises from within, grounded in the understanding that we are already whole and complete. By letting go of the illusion that we need something outside ourselves to be happy, we reconnect with a deeper source of contentment. In practical terms, this liberation might look like finding fulfillment in simple pleasures rather than chasing grand ambitions. It might mean appreciating the present moment without being consumed by worries about the future or regrets about the past. Ultimately, it means living with an open heart, free from the fear of loss or the need for control. The suffering caused by desire and attachment is not inevitable. It arises from our misunderstanding of the nature of happiness and our tendency to seek fulfillment in impermanent things. By recognizing the illusions created by the ego, embracing the truth of impermanence, and cultivating mindfulness, we can break free from this cycle of suffering. Life is impermanent, but this impermanence is not a cause for despair. On the contrary, it is an invitation to live fully and authentically, appreciating each moment without clinging to it. In letting go of our attachments, we discover a profound freedom, one that allows us to engage with life's beauty and challenges with grace and equanimity. Practical wisdom for everyday renunciation. Renunciation isn't reserved for monks meditating on mountaintops. It's for everyone, yes, even you navigating the chaos of daily life. Let's explore how we can begin this transformative practice in small but meaningful ways. 1. Ask yourself, do I really need this? Before making a purchase or adding something new to your life, take a moment to pause. Reflect deeply on whether the item truly adds value or fulfills a genuine need. This practice isn't about depriving yourself, but about cultivating mindfulness. For instance, when tempted by a flashy gadget or trendy apparel, consider whether it aligns with your long-term goals or is merely an impulse-driven desire. Over time, this simple question can help reduce unnecessary consumption and foster a sense of intentional living. 2. Simplify your surroundings. Clutter isn't just a physical burden, it's a mental one. Studies show that a disorganized environment can increase stress and hinder productivity. Begin with small steps, like decluttering a single drawer or donating clothes you haven't worn in a year. As your surroundings become simpler, you'll likely notice a profound sense of relief and clarity. Each item you release is a step toward creating a space that supports your peace of mind and well-being. 3. Meditate on impermanence. Impermanence is a cornerstone of wisdom in many spiritual traditions. Everything in life, our joys, our sorrows, our possessions, is fleeting. By meditating on this truth, we can loosen the grip of attachment and learn to appreciate the present moment. Try a simple practice. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and visualize the transient nature of things around you. A blooming flower, a fading sunset, or even the breath moving in and out of your body. This reflection can cultivate a profound sense of freedom and acceptance. 4. Cultivate gratitude. The Blueprint for Happiness by Dr. Jordan Peterson. Gratitude is a powerful antidote to dissatisfaction and the endless chase for more. Take a moment each day to acknowledge the blessings in your life, no matter how small. Whether it's the warmth of the sun on your skin, a kind word from a friend, or the simple miracle of being alive, gratitude can shift your focus from scarcity to abundance. Consider keeping a gratitude journal to reinforce this habit. Over time, you'll likely find your perspective transform. 5. Practice generosity. Generosity isn't just about giving money or material goods. It's about sharing your time, energy, and kindness. When you give freely, you strengthen your sense of connection and purpose. Acts of generosity can be as simple as listening attentively to a friend, volunteering for a cause you care about, or sharing a meal. The joy of giving often surpasses the fleeting satisfaction of acquiring something new, reminding us of our shared humanity. 6. Mindful observation. Pay close attention to how desires and attachments manifest in your daily life. When a craving arises, whether for food, entertainment, or validation, observe it without judgment. Notice its intensity, its persistence, and, eventually, its impermanence. This practice can help you detach from the compulsions that often drive behavior. By becoming a mindful observer of your inner world, you gain greater control over your actions and choices. 7. Develop inner strength. Renunciation isn't always easy. It requires courage and resilience. It asks us to confront societal norms that equate happiness with material success, and to embrace the vulnerability of letting go. This inner strength grows with practice and patience. Start small, skip an unnecessary purchase, spend a day without social media, or dedicate time to meditation. Each step strengthens your resolve and builds the foundation for a more meaningful, less attachment-driven life. Renunciation isn't about rejecting the world or living an austere life. It's about living with greater awareness, intention, and freedom. By incorporating these practices into your daily routine, you can begin to experience the profound benefits of letting go. Remember, it's not about perfection, but progress. Each moment of mindfulness and each act of release brings you closer to a life of greater peace and fulfillment. Compassion, the heart of renunciation. How do we let go without feeling empty? The answer lies in compassion. When we focus on the well-being of others, our own desires seem less urgent. The Dalai Lama often reminds us, true love is not possessive, it is freeing. Can you imagine loving someone not for what they give you, but simply for who they are? Compassion expands our perspective. It's not about sacrificing yourself, but about understanding that your happiness is intertwined with the happiness of others. This interconnectedness diminishes the ego's grip and allows you to let go with grace. Letting go in this context becomes a natural progression of loving deeply without clinging. It is an act of trust in the interconnected fabric of existence. Practicing compassion involves small, daily acts of kindness. It could be as simple as offering a smile to a stranger, or as profound as forgiving someone who has hurt you. These acts shift our focus from self-centered desires to the collective well-being of humanity. The beauty of compassion lies in its simplicity. It asks only for sincerity, not grandeur. Imagine the ripple effect. If everyone committed to even a single act of kindness each day, the world could transform into a more loving and understanding place. To cultivate compassion further, one must embrace mindfulness and empathy. Mindfulness helps us to stay present and observe our emotions without judgment. It allows us to see our attachments and aversions clearly, creating space for intentional actions rather than reactive ones. Empathy, on the other hand, allows us to step into another person's shoes and feel their joys and struggles as our own. Together, these practices create a fertile ground for compassion to grow, enabling us to see beyond our limited perspective and appreciate the vast web of human experience. Footnote: moreover, compassion is not a sign of weakness, but a source of profound inner strength. It takes courage to open your heart and care deeply, especially in a world that often emphasizes self-preservation and individual achievement. Yet it is through this vulnerability that true connection and healing emerge. By choosing compassion, we align ourselves with a deeper truth, that our greatest strength lies in our ability to uplift one another. Reflecting on compassion can also inspire us to engage in larger acts of service. Volunteering, mentoring, or supporting causes that uplift others can be transformative. These efforts remind us that our lives are part of a greater whole, and that our actions, no matter how small, ripple outward to affect countless others. Through service, we not only make a positive impact, but also deepen our own sense of purpose and fulfillment. True compassion also requires patience and practice. It is not a one-time effort, but a lifelong commitment to living with an open heart. There will be moments of doubt, frustration, and even failure, but each act of compassion strengthens our resolve. Over time, compassion becomes a way of being, rather than just an occasional practice. It shapes our relationships, our decisions, and our worldview. Ultimately, compassion teaches us that letting go is not about losing something, but about gaining the freedom to love unconditionally. It replaces emptiness with fulfillment, isolation with connection, and fear with courage. When we let go through the lens of compassion, we are not stepping away from life, but stepping deeper into its essence. Isn't it time we embraced compassion as the heart of renunciation and the foundation of a meaningful life? After all, in the act of giving, we often receive far more than we could ever imagine. Renunciation in a modern world. In today's world, we are immersed in a culture that glorifies consumerism, material wealth, and ceaseless ambition. The modern mantra, often whispered in advertisements, media, and social circles, is clear: happiness lies in acquisition. Whether it's the latest gadget, an exotic vacation, or a coveted career milestone, society constantly reinforces the idea that fulfillment is just one more purchase, achievement, or experience away. Yet if we pause and reflect, how often do these promises deliver on their allure? The satisfaction we derive from such pursuits is often fleeting, leaving us yearning for the next thing, perpetually chasing an elusive sense of contentment. The Dalai Lama's teachings invite us to challenge this narrative and rethink the metrics by which we define success and happiness. What if we shifted our focus from external accumulation to internal cultivation? What if success was not about the things we own or the accolades we achieve, but about the peace and joy we nurture within ourselves? Renunciation, often misunderstood as the complete rejection of worldly pleasures, offers a profound and practical antidote to the relentless pace of modern life. Far from being an archaic practice suited only to monks and ascetics, renunciation in a contemporary context is about redefining our priorities and making conscious choices that align with what truly matters. What does renunciation look like today? Renunciation in the modern world doesn't demand that we abandon our ambitions, relationships, or comforts. It's not about retreating to a monastery or shunning all material possessions. Instead, it calls for a deliberate and mindful approach to life. It's about recognizing the difference between wants and needs, between temporary gratification and lasting fulfillment. At its core, renunciation is an act of liberation, freeing ourselves from the compulsive cycle of craving and attachment that often leads to stress, dissatisfaction, and a sense of emptiness. Consider the role of technology in our lives. Smartphones, social media, and other modern conveniences can enrich our experiences and help us connect with loved ones or learn new skills. But when used mindlessly, these same tools can trap us in patterns of distraction, comparison, and superficiality. Renunciation doesn't mean giving up technology entirely. It means engaging with it intentionally. For example, setting boundaries on screen time, using apps to meditate or learn, and prioritizing face-to-face interactions over virtual ones are simple yet powerful acts of renunciation in a digital age. Reimagining success and ambition. Our understanding of success often revolves around tangible achievements, career advancement, financial prosperity, or social recognition. While these goals can provide motivation and structure, they often leave little room for inner peace and personal growth. Renunciation encourages us to redefine ambition. Instead of chasing external validation, we can cultivate goals rooted in kindness, mindfulness, and purpose. Ambition doesn't have to conflict with renunciation. Rather, it can be guided by values that promote collective well-being and personal harmony. Imagine a world where success is measured not by the size of one's bank account or the number of accolades received, but by the depth of one's compassion, the strength of one's relationships, and the ability to live with authenticity and joy. Such a reimagining may seem utopian, but small, individual shifts in perspective can have a ripple effect, inspiring others and creating a cultural shift toward more meaningful definitions of success. Practical steps toward renunciation. Incorporating renunciation into our daily lives doesn't require dramatic changes. Instead, it involves small, intentional acts that help us detach from unhelpful patterns and focus on what truly enriches our lives. Here are a few ways to practice renunciation in a modern context. 1. Mindful consumption. 2. Digital detox. Set aside specific times to unplug from devices and reconnect with the present moment. Use technology purposefully, whether to nurture relationships, learn, or engage with creative pursuits. 3. Cultivating gratitude. Shift your focus from what you lack to what you have. Practicing gratitude can help reduce feelings of inadequacy and foster a sense of contentment. 4. Simplifying priorities. Reflect on what truly matters to you. Align your time and energy with those priorities, letting go of obligations or pursuits that don't align with your values. 5. Acts of service. Redirecting focus from self-centered pursuits to helping others can bring profound fulfillment. Volunteering, mentoring, or simply showing kindness in daily interactions are forms of renunciation that enrich both giver and receiver. The intersection of modernity and mindfulness. Modern conveniences and renunciation are not inherently at odds. When approached with mindfulness, technology and progress can coexist harmoniously with the principles of renunciation. For instance, video calls can bridge physical distances with loved ones, and online platforms can provide access to transformative knowledge and spiritual teachings. However, the key lies in intentional use. Are we using these tools to connect and grow, or are we allowing them to distract and overwhelm us? Renunciation in the modern world is less about rejecting external advancements and more about reclaiming internal sovereignty. It's about choosing simplicity over excess, presence over distraction, and purpose over superficiality. In doing so, we can find a balance that allows us to embrace the benefits of modernity without becoming enslaved by its demands. Vision for the future. The Dalai Lama's call to rethink our values and embrace renunciation is not just a personal challenge, it's a societal one. As individuals, we can model a way of life that prioritizes peace, compassion, and mindfulness. Collectively, these choices can inspire a cultural shift away from consumerism and toward a deeper, more meaningful way of living. Imagine a world where individuals and communities value inner growth as much as external progress. A world where the relentless pursuit of more is replaced by the contentment of enough. Such a vision is not beyond reach. By embracing renunciation in our own lives, we can take a step closer to this reality, creating a ripple effect that transforms not just our own well-being, but the fabric of society itself. In the end, renunciation is not about having less, but about being more present, more intentional, and more attuned to what truly matters. It is a practice that frees us from the shackles of incessant craving and opens the door to a life of genuine fulfillment. And in this modern world of endless distractions and demands, what could be more revolutionary than that? A philosophical reflection. Renunciation isn't just a practice, it's a profound and transformative philosophy of life. This concept invites us to deeply reflect on what truly matters. What, in the vast and intricate web of existence, holds real and lasting value? At its essence, renunciation compels us to look beyond the superficial and fleeting, to strip away the noise of external expectations and the relentless demands of our desires. It is through this stripping away that we begin to uncover life's most enduring truths, the profound connection we share with others, the exquisite beauty of the present moment, and the unparalleled peace that comes from a heart unburdened by craving. This way of being asks challenging questions of us. What are we clinging to and why? What fears underlie our attachment to things, ideas, or even relationships? Renunciation doesn't demand that we forsake all that we hold dear. Rather, it encourages us to reframe our understanding of possession, attachment, and fulfillment. It offers a pathway not to deprivation, but to liberation. When we let go of the incessant drive for more, be it more wealth, recognition, or even love, we create space for something infinitely more valuable. In the quiet that follows, we rediscover the joy of simply being. We find that our worth is not determined by what we own or what we achieve, but by our capacity to live authentically, to connect deeply, and to cherish the transient beauty of the moment. Renunciation, then, is not about rejecting life, but about embracing it fully, free from the illusions that often cloud our vision. A life of authentic freedom. Isn't this the kind of life we all long for, even if we struggle to articulate it? A life unshackled from the fear of loss, where our happiness doesn't hinge on external conditions. Such a life is enriched not by the accumulation of material goods, but by the freedom to love, to give, and to live authentically. This is not a life of withdrawal, but of deeper engagement, a life where joy arises not from the possession of things, but from the clarity of seeing things as they truly are. The teachings of the Dalai Lama illuminate this pathway with a wisdom that transcends cultural and temporal boundaries. Renunciation, as he teaches it, is not an escape from life, but a more profound immersion into its truths. It is about shedding the illusions that entangle us, the belief in permanence, the obsession with self, and the relentless grasping for what we think will complete us. When we let go of these illusions, we open ourselves to the possibility of genuine experiences and profound joy. What's more, this letting go doesn't isolate us. Instead, it connects us more deeply with the world and with others. By relinquishing the need to control and possess, we become free to love and give without conditions. The ripple effect of renunciation. Well, the transformation that renunciation brings is not confined to the individual. Its effects ripple outward, influencing families, communities, and even societies. Imagine the harmony that could arise in a world where individuals prioritize connection over possession, understanding over judgment, and compassion over competition. Renunciation fosters this harmony. It dissolves the artificial barriers of mind and yours, replacing them with a shared recognition of our interconnectedness and common humanity. Hendricks and Huygens say, when you have grace, when one person chooses to live authentically, free from the chains of attachment, their example can inspire others to do the same. This isn't merely a theoretical possibility, but a lived reality observed in countless spiritual and social movements. Communities built on the principles of simplicity, compassion, and shared purpose often exhibit a profound sense of unity and joy. This is the power of renunciation. It transforms not only the individual, but the collective. Practical wisdom for everyday life. It's easy to think of renunciation as a lofty ideal, applicable only to monks or those living in isolated retreats. However, the beauty of this philosophy lies in its practical applicability to everyday life. You don't have to renounce all your possessions or relationships to experience its benefits. Instead, it's about cultivating an attitude of non-attachment. This means appreciating what you have without clinging to it, loving others without trying to possess them, and engaging in life's pursuits without letting them define you. Mechanism. Consider the impact of this approach in daily situations. Imagine facing a conflict with a loved one. Instead of insisting on being right or holding on to resentment, you choose to let go. By releasing your attachment to ego and control, you create space for understanding and reconciliation. Or think about your relationship with material possessions. Rather than constantly striving for the next new thing, you find contentment in what you already have, freeing yourself from the exhausting cycle of desire and dissatisfaction. A pathway to inner and outer peace. Renunciation also offers a pathway to inner peace. When we let go of craving and attachment, we free ourselves from much of the anxiety and suffering that these bring. This inner tranquility, however, doesn't remain confined within us. It radiates outward, influencing how we interact with others and navigate the world. A peaceful heart is more open to acts of kindness, more resilient in the face of adversity, and more capable of inspiring peace in others. This is why the Dalai Lama often speaks of renunciation as a tool for creating a more compassionate and harmonious world. It's not just a personal practice, but a social imperative. By transforming our relationship with ourselves and our desires, we contribute to a culture of understanding, generosity, and shared well-being. The ultimate freedom. Renunciation is ultimately about freedom. Not the freedom to do whatever we please, but the freedom to live in alignment with our deepest values. It's the freedom to love without fear, to give without expectation, and to exist without the constant need to prove or acquire. In this freedom, we find the essence of joy, compassion, and authentic living. This freedom is available to all of us, regardless of our circumstances. It doesn't require us to abandon our lives, but to engage with them more deeply and honestly. It challenges us to look within, to question our attachments, and to embrace the transformative power of letting go. In doing so, we discover that the ultimate treasure is not something we can hold on to, but something we can live and embody. A heart unburdened, a mind at peace, and a life of authentic connection and joy. And lastly, letting go of the temptation to worry. Worry is dangerous, but it's not the enemy. You can set it aside. It keeps you from doing the work. Call to action. What's holding you back from taking that transformative first step? Could you pause for a moment today to observe your desires, not with judgment, but with curiosity and openness? Could you experiment with the practice of letting go, even in the smallest way, and notice the lightness it brings? Renunciation isn't about loss. It's about uncovering something far greater: clarity, joy, and an unshakable sense of freedom. It's not a sacrifice, but an intentional choice to release what weighs you down, allowing space for what truly nourishes the soul. It's about living deliberately, with purpose, and aligning yourself with the profound truths that lie beneath the surface of existence. As the Dalai Lama reminds us, the purpose of life is to be happy, but this happiness isn't found in the ceaseless pursuit of possessions or achievements. True happiness emerges in the serene act of release, in the wisdom of recognizing that fulfillment lies not in clinging, but in letting go. So, are you ready to answer this call and embark on a liberating journey of discovery? The path is always there, waiting patiently for you to begin. With every mindful step, you move closer to a life filled with authenticity, purpose, and profound joy. The choice is yours, and the first step, however small, can change everything.